This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. October 10th is World Mental Health Day, and this year we are saying thank you to therapists. BetterHelp therapists have helped over 5 million people worldwide on their mental health journeys. That's millions of stories and millions of journeys. Behind each one of them is a therapist who showed up, listened, and helped someone take that next step forward. Moments in therapy, like asking the right questions, having a safe place to get emotional or cry, or small wins, they can change lives. This World Mental Health Day, BetterHelp is honoring those connections and the therapists who make them possible while showing how easy it is to get guidance from a licensed therapist online with BetterHelp. I've been doing therapy for over 2 years and I couldn't recommend it enough. It's helped me so much with relationships with my friends, families, even myself. It's helped me understand myself better, and it's just made for such a better life. It really has. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for live sessions based on over 1.7 million client reviews. This World Mental Health Day, we are collaborating with those therapists who have helped millions of people take a step forward. If you're ready to find the right therapist for you, BetterHelp can help you start that journey. Our listeners get 10% off of their first month at BetterHelp.com/PFF. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/PFF. The Browns versus the Steelers, next game I want to hit here. Steelers win this game 23-9. The top 5 graded players that we had for the Pittsburgh Steelers, a lot of them are going to be defensive linemen, let me tell you. Edge rushers specifically, at the very top of the list, Nick Herbig with a 94.8 PFF grade. That's incredible. Edge rusher TJ Watt, really good game from him, an 87.0. Edge rusher Alex Highsmith, an 84.5. Cornerback Joey Porter Jr., an 82.0. Wide receiver DK Metcalf, a 79.0. And then Aaron Rodgers, an 82.9. On Cleveland's side of things, Myles Garrett was their top graded player, but he wasn't as high as some of those guys that we saw for the Pittsburgh Steelers. A 77.2 overall grade. Linebacker Devin Bush, a 75.7. Defensive tackle Malik Collins, a 74.2. Safety Grant Delpit, a 67.7. Tight end Harold Fannin Jr., a 67.2. And then quarterback Dylan Gabriel, a 51.1. There were some Steelers fans I saw tweeting out some of the preliminary PFF grades yesterday after the game was over, because we do the live grading stuff. And they saw that Myles Garrett's grade was ahead of TJ Watt, and they weren't very happy about it, and they wondered how Myles Garrett was able to get that high of a grade while only having one pressure. Those are the preliminary grades, and we go over the grades, we comb over it, we have our rechecks and everything, and so those are the final grades that we showed you right there. But I do want to say, Garrett still had a really good game in this game. His passer's win percentage was still pretty dang high. He was still a force to be reckoned with in this game. The fact of the matter is, the Steelers had a fantastic game plan for him. They constantly had different looks with tight ends being able to be on his side of the line of scrimmage and chip him and all that kinds of stuff. The offensive line, I thought, played really well in mitigating exactly where Myles Garrett could go and how he could impact the game. If they were running the football, a lot of times they weren't running it at Myles Garrett. They were making him get beyond a chip or beyond the offensive tackle just to chase the running back from behind, and a lot of times he couldn't do it. And to be honest with you, part of this great Aaron Rodgers game, which I'm going to get to more in a second, Rodgers is the perfect quarterback to mitigate a guy like Myles Garrett. He's getting the ball out of his hands quickly. He's not dumb. He knows Myles Garrett is to his blind side, and he knows how to just get around that. And so I thought it was an excellent job from the Pittsburgh Steelers game planning around Myles Garrett to make him a non-factor in this game. That didn't mean that Myles Garrett did not have a good game. I thought he was a presence. He was impactful. He was still winning a lot of his assignments. But by the time he was able to win versus a tight end and versus an offensive tackle, that ball's gone.
Yep.
And Aaron Rodgers knew that. And so it was just a hat tip to what the Steelers were able to do, I think, from a philosophical standpoint going into this game to neutralize a great talent like Myles Garrett. So hats off to what Pittsburgh was able to do in this game.
And I think that's the one way that you do have to attack this Cleveland defense is look at all the veteran quarterbacks they've played against and lost to. Think about it and just how those games have gone. Joe Burrow, week 1. Carson Wentz for Minnesota. Jared Goff for Detroit. Aaron Rodgers. You think about the plan in all of these games is the same. We can't block these guys. Almost nobody can. The Lions, They can to an extent, but even then they had to tweak it a bit. You mentioned it, Aaron Rodgers, and this is why going into it, despite him having such low grades for us through the first 5 games, going into it, it was really the type of quarterback needed to win this game. And you mentioned it, the game plan, credit Arthur Smith too, because the bootleg game was working, just Rodgers getting the ball out of his hand, and an awareness, again, of the offense that you're playing against. It's kind of a similar thing I was saying earlier with the Raiders, where, look, this Browns team, they've scored 17 or less, I believe, in 11 straight games now. Get to 20 points. If you don't pick up the third down, just punt it away. It's fine. Just don't turn the football over or anything. And Rodgers knew that. Even the handful of throws he missed to the right place or he threw it away. And that's fine, because this Browns team, they can't drive the ball 80, 85 yards. Punt it away. Get it back with your elite defense, and you're feeling just fine. For me, on the other side of it, it's the Steelers' pass rush. There's a reason you saw those 3 edge defenders up there at the top of the list, and those are my most impressive guys. As a team, 89 pass rush grade, 43% pressure rate, 70% pass rush win rate. And poor Dylan Gabriel, I know you're going to talk about this. If you include plays that got negated by penalty, he dropped back 65 times in this game. Against this,
just not even close to the rest.
Against this defensive line, with this Cleveland offensive line, with Nick Herbig getting 6 pressures and 2 sacks, with J.J. Watt getting 6 pressures and a sack.
Watt.
Thank you, T.J. Watt. I don't know.
Although J.J.'s there in spirit.
Was he on the call? He might have been on. He might have been in the stadium.
Was he on the call? He might have been.
Maybe he was
on the call.
He was on. See, he was there.
Sorry. All right.
Thinking about it.
He probably got a pressure as well. For how bad the Cleveland Browns offensive tackles were, he probably could have got out there and gotten a pressure or 2, even in the suit.
Oh, 5 or 6 probably. Yeah. Highsmith had a sack. All 3 of those guys I just mentioned over a 25% win rate. The Steelers D-line, this is the formula. Aaron Rodgers goes out there, makes enough throws, doesn't make mistakes. This pass rush dominates. You get ahead in games, especially against an offense like the Browns. This is pretty much exactly how the Steelers wanted this game to go. And with the Browns, if you get to 20 points, you're going to win, because they don't get there. They're not really capable of getting there.
Let's see. What do I want to talk? Okay, so I'll actually piggyback off that before I get back to some of the Steelers' offensive players. The Browns' offensive tackles, actually offensive tackle play in general in this game was very bad.
It's not great.
Not starting caliber level. The Browns' offensive tackles in this game combined for a 21.2 pass blocking grade, and the Steelers' offensive tackles in this game combined for a 25.5 pass blocking grade. That's pretty damn bad. For the Cleveland Browns, I think it's an indictment on where they believe that their roster was. And I don't mean to just keep bringing this up as a victory lap or something, but I cannot believe that they did not invest in the offensive line more this offseason. They didn't draft a single offensive lineman when they knew that they were potentially going to have these issues. Now, did they think it's going to be this bad? No. I understand that DeJuan Jones is hurt, but let's be honest, DeJuan Jones has also really struggled throughout his NFL career.
And even then,
so I don't want people to be like, well, yeah, one of their starting offensive tackles is hurt. Okay, well, he has not been great to this point in his NFL career. They had 3 offensive tackles playing this game, the Cleveland Browns did. Cam Robinson, who earned a 27.4 pass blocking grade, was beaten by defenders 14 times and gave up 6 pressures. KT Leviston, 25.5 pass blocking grade, gave up 5 pressures. Jack Conklin, in just 29 snaps before he went out, gave up 5 pressures. Jack Conklin looked bad in this game. I know he was coming back from an injury. He had, I think it was a concussion in this game. He had an elbow injury the last couple of weeks, and he's just been banged up a little bit. But Dalton, we're at the point where next year the Browns might have to replace all 5 offensive linemen. All 5.
Might be a good thing, actually.
I know,
their plan A coming into this year.
Yeah, but how viable is it that you're going to get 5 starting caliber offensive linemen?
Oh, you're not.
They're a year behind.
Yeah,
they should have got ahead of it. I'm just so shocked, and this is the result.
Their plan A.
Pittsburgh's pass rush from the edges, one of the best in the NFL. Okay, this is not how it's going to be every single week. But you asked for this. You didn't touch the offensive line at all whatsoever. And even with the injuries, even with a fully healthy Cleveland Browns offensive line, the only change to the starting lineup would have been DeJuan Jones playing instead of Cam Robinson.
Yeah.
The rest of the offensive line would have been exactly the same if they were fully healthy. It's just strange to me. It's so Dylan Gabriel can't drop back 40 times, let alone 65 behind this offensive line, and you think that you're going to win this football game.
Yeah.
So it makes me mad every week that we go on here with this offensive line.
Their plan A was 4 guys in their 30s and DeJuan Jones at not his natural position. That was plan A. So, I mean, you're right. That was the one shocker coming out of the draft was, well, you got 2 quarterbacks and no offensive linemen and 2 running backs and no offensive linemen. And the only offensive lineman I think they signed was, well, I don't remember if Cam Robinson, they just got recently, but what, Tevin Jenkins? And he's not playing tackle.
No, he's not.
So, I mean, it's...
I guess they do have Tevin Jenkins.
I mean,
so maybe one of those offensive linemen would have been different.
I mean, as a team, they have a 32 pass blocking grade this year. By far the least, the worst one. So, I mean, they just can't. You just feel bad for Dylan Gabriel at this point, and maybe eventually we may see Shedeur Sanders, and that doesn't matter either because they can't block anybody.
Really great game from Aaron Rodgers. Really great game. This was the type of game that you bring him on the team for. He had an 82.5 passing grade in this one. He was 21 for 30, 235 passing yards, and 3 big-time throws, no turnover-worthy plays. I know Steelers fans have kind of been sometimes mad when they've won games previously this season, and we've got Rodgers with a super low grade. The fact of the matter is that in a lot of their wins, he hasn't really pushed the ball deep down the field. He had an average depth of target in this game of a 7.7. That was only the second time this season in which he has had an average depth of target above 6.5. So not only was he pushing the ball down the field a little bit more, he's winning the game more with his arm. He had 3 big-time throws in this game. It was the first time this season that he has had 3 big-time throws in a game, and it's also the first time that he has had multiple big-time throws in a single game with 0 turnover-worthy plays. He's had, I believe, 2 games where he's had 2 big-time throws, but in one of those, he had an equal 2 turnover-worthy plays, and in the other one, he had 1 turnover-worthy play. So that's why Rodgers' grades haven't been fantastic this season, is because when he has played somewhat well, he hasn't necessarily played it difficult. He hasn't really won the game with his arm. This game was excellent. Navigating pressure, pinpoint accuracy, having those big-time throws deep down the field. Aaron Rodgers was fantastic in this game, and I absolutely, so Steelers fans know, it's not like we're trying to not give Aaron Rodgers any credit at all. I will gladly give Aaron Rodgers his credit when he deserves it, and he absolutely deserved it in this game. He was fantastic.
No, he was. It was easily the best game he's played this year, and a great plan from him and from Arthur Smith to just, again, that's what you have to do is work around this Cleveland front 7 any way you can. 23 points might not seem that flashy, but it's more than good enough against the Browns, and I think that's just how you have to get out of these Cleveland games with a win.
Anything else in this one before we move on?
Not necessarily. Tough day for Carson Schlesinger, but first time he's looked like a rookie, but he's been really good otherwise. So
that's true.
Not worried about it. And that's the funny part is most of the Browns rookies, Judkins, Schlesinger, Mason Graham's look solid. They've been fine.
They've been okay.
The O-line and the quarterback. I mean, and the quarterback stands no chance behind the O-line. It just doesn't give him much of a chance.
Yeah, I know they would want more from Mason Graham, as would I, as one of my top 5 players that I had in last year's class. But he's been fine. But I think certainly in run defense, he's been a little bit of a liability at times, especially against double teams. But we'll see. It's rookie year, so it's tough to really be able to stand out in the trenches. I think the ones that can are often the outliers.